Welcome to Bible Study. So glad that you are with us this morning for another week of Bible study as we continue on our journey of looking into the places in Scripture where Jesus speaks. I, for one, am glad that you have taken time to be with us on this journey. Through this week, we are going to be fully in the book of Revelation. Now, I know that the book of Revelation is not necessarily one of those places where we tend to typically think about Jesus speaking, but Jesus is speaking throughout the entirety of the Bible, not just in the red letters of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And over these next few days, what we're going to do is take a look at those other places where Jesus speaks, not just to the original listeners, but also I think many times Jesus is speaking directly to us, or at least we are able to gain something by what we hear him say to others, simply by just kind of looking over their shoulder. It's going to teach us about Christ himself and perhaps also teach us a bit about us. And these next couple of days, that's exactly what we're going to experience because Jesus is going to be saying things to the churches in the New Testament. And so we're going to have an opportunity to look over the shoulder of Jesus' message to some churches, and perhaps even we'll find something for ourselves in his message to them as well. But before we go any further this morning in our study, I want to make sure that if you've not already done so, that you've signed up for the email list. You can sign up for the email list at kmyoung.com/sign up. But I sent out an email last night to our email list, which I promised that I would do. And there's some very special information on there, something that I would like to invite you to be a part of, whether you're local here to Jupiter or somewhere far away. We have an event especially for you. And so I want to encourage you to be a part of doing that. And so if you did not get that email from me last night and you're on the list, or you're not on the list and you want the information on it, shoot me an email at kevin@kmyoung.com and I'll make sure to get all the information to you. Or you can always shoot me a Facebook message as well. Right here. Good morning, Loretta. Good to see you. Good morning, Mom. Good to see you on here as well. Well, today where we're going to be is in Revelation chapter 2, verses 1 through 7. And what's happening here is we're going to see some letters written to churches in Asia Minor. And Jesus is going to have something to say to these churches. And we're going to look over the shoulder of the first one, the church in Ephesus, right here in Revelation chapter 2, verse 1. John is being told to write this letter to the angel of the church in Ephesus. And this is the message from the one who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, the one who walks among the 7 gold lampstands. Now, I don't have time to get into all of the imagery that's going on there. That's really not the point of our study here. Revelation deserves its own study, and maybe at some point in morning Bible study we will take as our task working through the book of Revelation. But for now, what we're interested in is essentially hearing Christ's words to this church in the city of Ephesus. And here they are. I know all of the things that you do. I have seen your hard work and your patient endurance. And so far, so good to this church. They're doing things for Jesus Christ. They're taking on hard work, hard tasks. They've patiently endured, which in those days was a very important thing to be able to do for churches during this time of suffering and stress. I know you don't tolerate evil people. Another thumbs up there. You've examined the claims of those who say they are apostles but are not. That means that you just don't take people at their word. You don't take clergy at their word, that their message is from God, but you examine them. You matched it up to what you know that is written, and you are examining things. That's a very good thing. And you've discovered even that they are liars. And so you have done due diligence. And so the church here is essentially feeling that Jesus is patting them on the back for all of the things that they have done well. And certainly he is. These are very important things for a church community, a body to be able to do. And so these are thumbs up. You have patiently suffered for me without quitting. This may be more than anything that Jesus has said to them yet, is a positive thing for them. It is a notch in their belt, as it were. You've patiently suffered without quitting. You've not given up. You've endured. I know that you've gone through stress. I know that you've gone through suffering. I've seen what you've been through, and you have hung in there with me and with your faith without quitting. You could perhaps in this past verse see yourself in these things, as though Jesus is directly writing this to you for what you have endured, for what you've gone through, and the diligence that you've given to your faith. And even in those moments when you have suffered, patiently suffered for Christ without quitting, it doesn't go unseen. Whether it's a church community, it doesn't go unseen if it's you. But then we get to verse 4, and in verse 4, things change just a little bit here. The tone changes to the church in Ephesus. I have this complaint against you. And a complaint from Jesus, it's a serious thing. You know, sometimes people complain and they're just complainers, or they don't know what they're talking about. And sometimes we let that go deep inside of us, and we shouldn't. And other times we just let it roll off, and we should. But whenever Jesus gives a complaint to his church, to his people, you know that it's going to be truthful. You know that it's going to be insightful, and you know it's going to be difficult to hear. I have this one complaint against you, verse 4. You don't love me or each other as you did at first. Jesus says, essentially, something has changed. You began your faith with a very strong fervor, this great amount of love for me and for other people. I'm not sure that you can truly have one without the other. I don't know that you can truly love Christ without truly loving others. And I'm not sure that you can truly love others without truly loving Christ. And so these things do go hand in hand. And Jesus says, you've lost your first love. Look how far you've fallen. But here's the hope. It can be turned around. Turn back to me and do the works you did at first. If you don't repent, I will come and will remove your lampstand from its place among the other churches. There is discipline to churches who do not fulfill the call that Jesus Christ has given to them. That is, in a sense, really terrifying, honestly, to think that churches themselves can come under judgment, have their, again, I don't have time to go into all of this imagery, but you can understand what's going on here, have their lampstand removed from its place among the other churches. Imagine a row of candles, and one candle isn't burning too well. It's gotten too much wax down in the bottom of it, and it continues to kind of put out the flame, and you have to go and just keep relighting that church. And at some point or other, you just say it's not worth the effort. I'm going to pull that candle out of the mix, and I'm going to replace it with one that's going to do its job, that I'm not going to have to pay attention to all the time. At some point or other, the trouble just isn't worth the hassle of the light that you're being given from it, especially if it's not giving light any longer. If it's gone out. A lampstand gives off light. And if this church at Ephesus doesn't reignite its first love, the new guy, Remy, apparently he wants me. So if the church does not reignite the flame of its first love, then Jesus says, you know what? You're no good to me as a church any longer. You're going to lose your place among the other churches, and something else will rise up in your place. But here's hope again. All is not lost. This is in your favor. You hate the evil deeds of the Nicolaitans, just as I do. And so there's still something embedded deep within you. Should we just let him finish? There's still something embedded deep within you. Now, the Nicolaitans, this is an errant teaching of the gospel that was going on in those days. Many people think that what was going on here was a mixing of cultural things, maybe even leaning towards witchcraft in with Christianity. And so it was kind of diluting the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ in with other untrue, false teachings. And so Jesus says there's still enough inside of you that you understand what is true and what is untrue. And so you still have a chance to turn it around because I see hope, Jesus says. Verse 7, anyone with ears to hear must listen to the Spirit and understand what he is saying to the churches. To everyone who is victorious, I will give fruit from the tree of life in the paradise of God. So what's going on here is that they had, in a sense, substituted rules about Christianity in place of a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so that is likely essentially what's happening here with the Nicolaitans, is that they had taken their rules, and you even read this in what Jesus was saying to them. You're doing well. You're acting well. You've done the right things. You've followed the instructions of your faith. You have taken the apostles who were not apostles and you have vetted them out. You've even done what was intentionally necessary with the Nicolaitan controversy. You've done all of these things well, but you've lost your first love. And so you're keeping the rules well, but rules are not a substitution for a relationship with Jesus Christ. Christianity isn't just a doctrine. Christianity isn't just a religious set of rules. Christianity isn't just a philosophy. Christianity it's not even just a way of life. Well, all of these doctrines and philosophies and religious guidelines and a way of life are facets, are parts of Christianity. They are not the essence of Christianity. The essence of Christianity is Jesus Christ himself, a person, a relationship with that person. So we hear a lot about ADHD and people who suffer from attention deficit disorder. And it seems as though, in a sense, that the church at Ephesus here is suffering from Jesus deficit disorder. They've got all the rules. They've got all of the practices. They've got all of the rituals together. But they don't have Jesus in the way that they once did. And that's a problem. That is a disorder. The essence of Christianity is not a system of beliefs. The essence of Christianity is a person with whom we are to be in relationship with. And I hope that you, as you are following Jesus Christ, are not just following a set of doctrines and rules and relationships, but I hope that you are following an individual, a person. And if not, my encouragement to you is to find your first love again. Jesus. That's all the time we have for today. Looking forward to being back with you tomorrow when we will, in fact, have another letter to another church in the book of Revelation as we hear Jesus speaks. But until that time tomorrow, from me to you, happy reading.